This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLTS20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. This week on the Heart of the Gulch YouTube show, we sit down with musician/songwriter Jessica Lynn. In today's Walk the Line episode, Jessica delivers a powerful performance of her newest single, I Never Said It'd Be Easy. Let's check out the episode. We are in the Heart of the Gulch. I'm your host, Tony Mendoza, and today I'm very excited. My guest is in the building all the way from New York City. We got the one and only Jessica Lynn in the building. One more time with the applause. What's up, Jessica?
Hi, thanks for having me.
You know, when you walked in the door, I was like, man, you are on a media run right now.
It's fun. It's been really fun. We haven't stopped since May, so...
No way.
Yeah, it's been the busiest year we've ever had, which is exciting, but we also could use a good nap.
Well, I can only imagine. So talk to me about how it's been in Nashville. How long have you been doing your media tour here in Nashville?
So it's just a quick 4-day run this week, in and out. We have meetings, seeing friends we haven't seen in a while, because we travel now like 6 months out of the year on tour.
You know, you do so much. I've been researching you so much, and you're the first interview of the year, so I love that. You couldn't have been with a better person because,
Thanks.
Man, you have done so much in 2024.
I don't even know where to begin with 2024. We started our tour in May with Jody Messina, which was really, really fun. She was the first artist I ever toured with when my career started. Mm-hmm. So she's very special to me and has become a really good family friend. And then we went all over the U.S. We went to Europe. We went overseas with the military. We spent the 4th of July in Guantanamo Bay with Armed Forces Entertainment, which was an incredible experience. Went to Asia, did a huge Christmas tour, and now we're here, and then California's next. Then I go to Africa in a week, and then finally mid-February we rest.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, speaking of that, you just unloaded a lot on me right there.
I did.
So I want to definitely
Now you need a nap.
Well, no, I want to learn more. So I just watched, you just released on your YouTube your tour within the very classic Christmas, right? And
Yes.
Talk to me about that, because it was, first of all, your voice sounds amazing. Your hair was flawless.
Thanks.
And man, it would just seem like a great time. I wish I was able to go to that.
Thanks. That's my favorite thing that we do all year. And big shout out, because you mentioned the hair, my hair artist, Holly Corsano, she's done every event with me since the beginning of my career, personal and professional, and has become one of my best friends. She also does Bon Jovi's band.
Sheesh.
But she's incredible. So thank you for mentioning how flawless she had my hair, because she did.
Hey, that's a big thing. When we talk about musicians, especially female musicians, they do making sure that the details are put together.
Yes,
So,
I'm also a Capricorn and very type A, so all of my details are certainly put together. It's a gift and a curse.
we saw it earlier today. So me and Steve's in the back. So we were definitely making sure all the sounds are right and every single thing. So I got to know your personality just from the door.
But the Christmas tour it's funny how that started. In 2016, I was offered to open, before my career really got going, for a John Denver tribute Christmas show.
Oh, that sounds fun.
At a theater near me. So, and it was just acoustic. We've never done Christmas music before. I was like, should be fun. Let's learn, like, Rock Around the Christmas Tree, a few tunes, and play it. And we did a stripped down version. And after the show, I was like, I really enjoyed that. I would love to do more of that. So I had this idea to kind of bring in local dancers and make it like a community event. And that show, it just spiraled from there. It has now sold out every single year, and now it's become a huge tour and a staple for so many families around the country, and internationally. We have now people that fly from all over the world to come see the show. This year we had people from Scotland, England.
It was sold out.
It was. Almost every show of the tour, the 14-show tour, was sold out.
So what's your favorite song to sing when it comes to Christmas?
I love doing Run, Run, Rudolph.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an outlier. Everyone forgets Run Run Rudolph.
They do, which they shouldn't. I'm a rocker at heart. I love that style of music, like old kind of 50s rock and roll and very vintagey sounds.
It's the classics. And
It is.
That's what makes, I think, when we go back to listen to Christmas music, I know, guys, that we just left Christmas not that long ago. And when we're filming this is almost the 17th, which your album comes out, All I Own, is going to be in the 17th of this week, right?
Yes.
How excited are you about that?
I'm very, very excited. This is a record I'm really proud of. It, I think, took me a long time in my career to truly feel comfortable being myself and not making music that I think they want to hear on a big festival stage or that country radio wants to hear. And I'm a rocker at heart. I grew up playing in all rock bands. So it's really kind of my own blend of country and rock and roll, and I think that really shines on this record.
Well, I was doing research, and of course, and I've listened to a lot of interviews you've done and all the names that you've worked with. And the one that stuck out on the top of my head was ZZ Top. I love ZZ Top. Now, I'm guessing, though, you've gotten to meet them at this point, right?
So, funny story. So we opened for them, and just a direct opener. It wasn't a festival or anything, in an arena in France. I have a very big international and European audience. We tour there every year, and we have since 2016. And I'm also a big fan. They're just the coolest dudes. Like, no one could get away with that choreography and stuff but them at all. And I just love their music. I love how commercial yet not commercial it is.
Very underground sounding.
Yes,
in a way.
but still commercially appealing, which is very attractive to me, and that's something I try to do in my own music. So it was so cool sound checking and seeing all their stuff getting rolled out on stage and working with their crew. And so we didn't get to meet them before the show, but then after the show I did get to meet Billy Gibbons, but I'm still kicking myself that I didn't get a photo because he was in his pajamas and I didn't want to bother him.
I cannot imagine a guy with such a long beard, or guys, and rest in peace to the brother, I believe, that passed. Man, they just have an aura around them, right? Just kind of like when you walked in the door, you kind of have this aura around you.
Thanks.
And it's something that most us normal folks will never get to experience, someone like that has that aura around them. But speaking to you, I'm definitely interested to know, what's your favorite track from your album?
Oh, that's such a hard question.
I can imagine.
I love them all for different reasons. And the story, so the record is actually a dual meaning. You may listen on the surface and think that things are just about love or life, but really everything is also about the music business and my journey through it. So if you listen deeper, you can really understand that. Mm-hmm. If I had to pick one, it would probably be, even though the music video for 16 Miles comes out on Friday, on January 17th, which I'm really excited about, but I Never Said It'd Be Easy has to be my favorite track on the record. It's a story of finding yourself through life and how it's not easy to find that path less traveled and to actually have the courage to go down it, but the freedom that you feel when you finally really find yourself. Mm-hmm. So I really resonate. I connect with that story.
When we talk about that dual meaning and we talk about the music industry, getting to talk to a lot of musicians last year, I realized the true struggle behind the music industry. Because especially if you're fronting all the money yourself and creating these amazing albums, like, you don't have to tell me the dollar amount that it took to make an album, but just let them know, what is that investment like?
It's a huge investment. Being an independent artist, which I've been my whole career and I've chosen to stay that way, is difficult. People write all the time, why aren't you on radio? I'm like, well, because I did go to radio and it cost tens of thousands of dollars. It's not easy for an average person to achieve. I come from a working class family. I think people just see you doing big things and always expect maybe you live a certain type of lifestyle, but it's very hard work. I started grinding in clubs when I was 13 years old with my guitar, out on school nights at 10 p.m. My parents were driving me into Manhattan, playing all the legendary music clubs like Bitter End, places I wasn't even allowed into. And it's been a long, long road. And I think as you navigate the business, you realize what's worth it to invest in and what's not. And I think because I learned the hard way, which is why now I mentor a lot of young artists and try to teach them how to avoid making the same mistakes that I did. But oh gosh, there's pitfalls everywhere and
Give me a
money.
couple.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I've had PR companies steal money from me and not deliver anything. I've had booking agents that had me block, oh, we're going to do this for you. Anybody that says they're going to do anything for you is going to do absolutely nothing for you.
Yes, 100%.
Say, oh, block out month of June. I have this whole tour being planned. Absolutely nothing. We've gotten bad checks written after we've gone to places. We've had venues close, which is actually 16 Miles, the song that's coming out on the record. It's like the feature track with the music video. That was written at one of the roughest times in my whole life. We were on a tour right after COVID, the first tour after COVID. I was having extreme difficulty getting back on the road. We couldn't get booked. Venues weren't operating at full capacity, and I wanted to get back on tour. And we went on this tour that just wasn't what we were used to. It wasn't the level of venue we were used to. It wasn't the money we were used to. I was basically like, hey guys, my band's been with me 14 years. They're incredible. Do you want to invest in going back on the road with me? Obviously, I didn't ask them for money, but we're not going to get paid what we normally do, but we can get back out there and do stuff. We had venues close. We got out to South Dakota and had 2 venues literally closed from COVID, and we're there. So I wrote that song sitting in a ranch in the middle of 16 miles of nothing. I was in such a dark place and really considered for the first time, I would say, in my life, giving up and saying, this was a good run, but I don't know if I could do this anymore. And we found this place. I was like, I need to recharge and get my mind back together. So I found this place that was literally in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by 16 miles of just prairie. Because our shows had been canceled, we needed somewhere to go. And I really kind of found myself again there. And I reflected on this. First of all, 1/6 is significant to me because it's also my birthday. But it was very interesting that ranch was 16 miles. So I wrote the song about just the journey. I call it a musician's prayer, the song of just there's kind of always light, keep going. Sometimes you just need an amen and a prayer am I going to get through this? And you always do.
Speaking of, and first of all, shout out to that story because that's a great story. Speaking about the positives though, right? So being an independent artist, you're allowed a little bit more creative freedom, if not a lot more creative freedom. And allowing yourself that time to kind of navigate your own career and picking the parts that you like to pick. I was reading a book, this is how you know I'm getting older. And for y'all out there, man, I've been enjoying reading books lately. I don't know what happened, but when I got older, I don't know what happened. Now, I'm getting closer to the middle of the 30s.
I feel you. Do you also enjoy your back not hurting and going to bed early? Because I do.
Oh, if you're not a 9 o'clock girly, we can't be friends because I'm asleep by 10. It's a sad thing. And we're from New York City. I live in Nashville. Who the heck is going to sleep at 9?
I know. Listen, we need our rest or we get cranky.
Wait, so I got to know now. We're going to go off cup a little bit. But so what's your morning routine like when you're back home?
I actually have a disabled dog. She has 2 prosthetic legs. And so our morning usually looks like taking care of her. We have to take care of her skin. She's in diapers. So we have to change her. We have to put on her prosthetic legs, and which is a whole process. And so we usually, first thing we do is we get up and we walk her. And then I sit at my laptop and I do booking emails and I do all the logistics for all my tours. Or it looks like after that, sitting down with my guitar if, it's an off period. It depends on the time of year, really.
How do you turn it off? So that has been my big, yeah, exactly. Right? Steve's over here
I don't.
Yeah, how do you turn it off?
It's hard. And that's been a real goal of mine, is to turn off the business. That was actually my 2025 resolution.
We love to hear it.
I'm not good at that. I don't drink. I've never done a drug in my life.
High five on that too. Me either.
My drug is success. I love being successful. I love working hard. So for me, that keeps me going. I'm addicted to it. I love seeing my hard work pay off. That is the most gratifying feeling in the entire world to me. Like when I'm grinding and trying to get this booking, and then we're playing this huge festival 3 months later because of that. That is what makes me high.
Yep.
And just performing itself in music. I just have always loved music since I was a little kid. So it's very hard for me to turn off that drive because that's what I live for. However, I also realize that without good music and without me being healthy or at my best, none of that happens. So that's been a lesson I've learned the hard way, many years of late nights, early mornings, pushing myself beyond my limits. Sometimes I feel like a superhero and I could do anything in the world, but we're all just human at the end of the day.
Well, you know what? Every human needs some help. And before I get on to the next part of this story, shout out to the people that are helping us out here in the heart of the Gulch. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Jessica right after this. Shout out to Manscaped. Let's go. This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLDS20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. So, Jessica, before we took our break, I was getting really deep into the conversation of musicianship and operating your own music. And ironically, the book that I mentioned was How to Make It in the Music Industry is the book that it's got me so into it. I'm not a musician, y'all know this, but I speak to a lot of musicians, so I want to get in the mindset of that. And one of the questions that the guy says is you're going to have a lot of people tell you this is not real, that, you know, what you're doing, when are you going to get a real job? Can you tell me a story of as you were coming up, not only in New York City, but doing tours all over the world, you know, has people to this day still come up to you and say, when are you going to move on to a real job?
Yes, all the time. I don't think that people see artistic careers as a real career. And I think it's really sad. And it's also uneducated because the amount of money that you can make in an artistic career far surpasses what that person probably makes that says that to you. I think, again, it's just, I don't know how that perception came to be or why it came to be, but it's sad because I think it deters a lot of young artists. And when I mentor young artists, I work with the government. I'm doing that. I do it myself on the side and through a lot of mediums. But I always say, you don't have to be Taylor Swift to make it in the music industry. That's a very narrow-minded way of looking at making it. What does making it really mean? Whoever truly defined that. And it's whatever you decide to make it. I say to myself, I make a great living traveling with my family, doing what I love to do, writing music, making music that I want to make. That's making it. I have everything that I've ever wanted in my life. What did I want to be when I was a little kid? A singer-songwriter that traveled the world. I'm doing it. Doesn't that mean I made it? Absolutely. But you also, not to forget your fans. You're making music that is resonating with people, and not only resonating with people across the globe. And that is something that is very uncommon with a lot of musicians. Most musicians like to dominate their city, but you're over here making tours all over the world. And speaking of Europe, I want to know, what are your favorite shows to play overseas? Oh, there's so many. Fans in Europe love music. Yeah, they do. And I think that's something that's really appealing and exciting for me going there. We started touring there in 2016. And it's funny, again, how life works. We got an email that I thought was a scam. And it said, we love your music in France. Come perform. I'd never been overseas before. I didn't think people in France knew who I was. And so I almost deleted it. And then at the bottom, I realized there was a production signature. So I started researching and I'm like, this looks legit. So I took a chance and they booked some TV, radio stuff for me and one festival appearance. That's it. We went all the way to Europe for one show as a test, basically. I didn't even know if we were going to show up and there was going to be a festival or if it was in fact a scam. Headlined, there were probably about 10 to 13,000 people there. And that led to 2 months overseas the next year because there were all buyers there that saw the show. fans there just, they take music so seriously. It's something to get used to as a performer because it is dead quiet when you're performing. In the US, people drink, they talk, they go to the bar. They don't do that there. And as a performer, it is so special to get to perform for audiences like that.
I love that. Now, let's even bring it into the US now. Talk to me about the different types of performing that you'll do for crowds versus Nashville versus New York, right? Because New York audience is a complete different audience than a Nashville audience.
It is. We've done my music, because it's very crossover, we fit in a ton of different places. So I've done NASCAR, I've done the national anthem at the Garden, to biker festivals, to blues festivals. We just did a blues festival this year, Kenny Wayne Shepherd and Kingfish and all cool artists like that. Then we did straight country festivals. Again, we're kind of all over the map. And I think it's really cool to have that experience because you also see what songs are very universal. And I think that's what I take away the most from performing all over the world is this one seems to resonate in Asia, in Europe, in America, in Latin America, wherever we go. And that's also how I choose what songs go on the records. It's how I choose what songs stay in the live show.
What are some stages that still give you the heebie-jeebies and the frights?
Oh, the frights? In a good or a bad way?
You tell me.
Oh, man. Good way. We're going back this year, which I'm very excited about. We played a festival in 2023, the largest country music festival in Switzerland. It's been there for 30 years.
Oh, that sounds like a dream.
It was a huge stage. And American Country Night had 3 acts. And we were the opener because I had just started to establish myself in Switzerland the year before. And my agent kept saying, don't want you to be upset, just want you to know the tent's never full for the openers, like ever. She was like, just expect it to be like a quarter full. I don't want you to be disappointed when you get out there. We had the largest crowd in 30 years.
Really?
In the opening slot, they said in 30 years, no one has ever filled the tent. And we outsold the headliner of that night. So we're going back now in the big spot this year, which gives me the chills in a really good way. That was a very special show for me because it was kind of like an all odds against you type of thing. And then every record I've ever put out charted in the top 5 in Switzerland after that festival. And so that was in a good way, a show that still gives me the chills. We've also played the Grand Prix of Germany. Also, we did Taste of Country here, which was a really cool festival that I still think about, main stage. But in the bad way, there's too many to mention.
Well, give me some that coming up the ranks. What has been a show that you've done where maybe you stumbled or someone on your team stumbled and, it was hard to get your footing back in it?
See, I think that's what makes professionals versus amateurs. I think, what bands tend to move up in the ranks are bands that can recover well. That's a big skill to learn, I think. So I'm very lucky that my band is very good at recovering because we have had disasters before. One thing that I think of right off the top of my head was years ago, my guitarist, we had a song that started acoustic where he just gives me the chord and I start singing. And then the band kicks in. He had his capo on his guitar, which means he started me in the wrong key. So all of a sudden the band comes in and I'm singing in a different key and everyone's looking around like, who is doing this?
Capos have been getting gets everyone. I don't know what's up with these capos, but it's never a good story when it comes with that.
No, so we laugh about it now, but that was kind of a moment that was like, oh my gosh, how are we going to recover from this? But I mean, we've had disastrous shows, not due to the band because we're a well-rehearsed and well-oiled machine at this point especially, but we've had power go out, we've had stage jumpers with security like pummeling them, we've had just showing up and nothing's prepared. We showed up to a gig once and there was just no equipment. The sound man quit and took all the equipment with him and they didn't tell us.
See, is there ever a time when it's almost like you said, clockwork, when you go up on stage, it almost feels like this is your job. This is your job is to perform. But what are those moments when, you take a moment, you look at the crowd, you see someone connecting with your song? What are those moments like for you?
That's why I do this. It sounds very cheesy and cliche, but the connecting part is the part that makes me want to keep going, especially on the hard days, because music is so powerful. It really is. And I think we forget that because it's so easily accessible to most people, not everywhere, which we also learned this year on tour. We toured in Malaysia and we went to a state under Sharia law, and I mentored young people there, which was an incredible experience, but they don't have access to music. And that was something also very powerful to see. But I think it's just really special when you see that. And it makes me want to write better songs, and it makes me want to write more authentic songs, because it's so cool that I could connect with somebody in Poland that I've never met before, because we went through the same exact thing. And I've gotten so many messages and had very special moments in my life with people telling me how much a certain song or a performance has meant to them. And that's stuff I really carry very close to my heart.
Now, with your audience, where do you connect most with your audience? Obviously, Spotify. So what's really important, too, is what I've learned is that pre-saving albums. Talk a little bit about that, actually.
Yeah, so, just a side note, too, I've learned to never put too much weight in social media. So, no, I'm not worried about TikTok going away. And it's something that I really learned heavily throughout the pandemic, because I was so online with everything. And one day that could all just go away.
100%.
So you can't, yes, it's great. It's an amazing tool. I'm very proud of what I've done on social media. I've built my following from 0 to over 750,000 worldwide followers. I was a top 25 live streamer of the year by Polestar because of the numbers that I was pulling in during the pandemic.
But was it 60,000, right? Or something like that? It was a lot. You're performing back.
I was easily getting over 100,000 people when I would go live. That's just wild. From my living room. It was. And it's because everybody was home. And because I also saw it as an opportunity to really use that to my advantage, which a lot of artists were like, I'm going to take a break now. I'm like, this is the worst time in the world to take a break. Why would you ever take a break? Use this. Fight. Like, you have to fight in this industry. And that's exactly what we did. You have to use it as a tool, and you have to use it for what it is, but you cannot put all of your eggs in that basket.
Do you ever have moments where you'll be online and you find a not so positive comment?
Oh, all the time.
Do those ever affect you, or are you at this point kind of bulletproof to online trolls out there?
I saw a quote years ago that always stuck with me. And it said, "Do not ever be offended by someone you wouldn't seek advice from." And it's true. If you're some loser that has to go online to feel better about yourself, to put strangers down, why would I ever care what you have to say about anything at all? And that's why I don't get offended by it. Especially too, you see amazing singers. You see Celine Dion, Whitney Houston on YouTube, and people are like, horrible voice. It happens to everybody. People sometimes are just very miserable in their own lives, and to feel better, they have to try to bring other people down. And I think if you just know that, what type of person goes online and says those things to people? It could bother me less.
And no one said it'd be easy, right? And going back to your album, right, that is being released this Friday, and when you guys see it, it'll already be out. So you guys got to make sure that you guys go stream it. But, what are some songs that you got on your album that we haven't talked about that, speaks to, your large audience all over the world? Another song.
I think everybody finds my music is very diverse, and there's a lot of diverse topics within it. And so I think everybody can find something that they connect with or like within it. There's stories in the record of loss. There's stories of hopefulness. There's stories of pure blissful love. There's stories of the opening track, Bet on It. It's about me getting screwed by people in the music industry. And one of my favorite lines from the whole record is in that song, "For every king and queen, I got an ace up my sleeve. You can bet on it." And it's about overcoming and pushing forward. And I think you work an office job and you're having trouble and you're trying to change career. You can connect with that. It doesn't have to be music. All I Own, the title track, is a really stripped down song that I'm really proud of on the record. That was a special moment writing it. I'm very good friends with Devin Allman of the Allman Brothers family, and I went to his house near St. Louis to write for a week, and one of his best friends was over that day, and we wound up just writing that song out of nowhere in his living room, which was a special memory for me. There's a lot of tracks on there that You Save Me, which is the other ballad. It's a song about how music saves you. And again, the double meaning is you could think it's about somebody in your life that has saved you from a very dark time. But yeah, there's so many themes and stories within there.
It's hard because with there being, each song is like a baby and each one means so much to you. And I think one of the hardest things a musician can do is try to relate their life into thousands of people's lives, right? So in a way, you have to make a song sound very general and allow people to take it for what they feel, right? So, before we take our last break and do crowd noise here, I want to ask the question that has to do with how important it is creating song titles. People do not think that. When you go to Spotify and you look up a song, sometimes you just pick the song because the song title caught your eye. So how important is creating song titles?
It's so important. It's so hard. It can't be too long. It can't be too short. It's like one of the most stressful things aside from the single or the album artwork. But it's something I put a lot of thought into. And I think as a writer, when you're writing, it kind of just pops out at you most of the time. So I wouldn't say it's something that I lose sleep over because normally when you're writing, you're like, that's it. That's the title. I'm going to give it all I got. And if the end, which is why I chose All I Own for the record title, if in the end that's not enough, then it's not meant to be. But I feel like you really, with anything in life, you have to give it everything that you have, or when you're 80 years old, you're going to look back and say, I really wish I would have done that. Or if I just tried a little bit harder, maybe my life could have been the way I wanted it to be.
Well, I love it. Okay, so let's get on to crowd noise. We'll play crowd noise right after this.
Most rewarding song you've been a part of?
So what's the most rewarding song I've been a part of?
Got it.
If I have to choose, see, rewarding is tricky because there's many different meanings of what's rewarding. Rewarding success-wise, like which song brought me the most success or which song brought me the most happiness. I guess I'll go the deep route with this. You Save Me, the track on the record that I did with the veteran. We also gave all proceeds of that song to a veterans organization. And we sold merch that also went to the veterans organization that helps veterans with PTSD and mental health issues. And I would say that's probably one of the most rewarding songs of my career because it was for a really good cause. And I think it has a really special meaning about how powerful music can be.
Well, we always on the show always shout out to the veterans out there from San Antonio, Texas, Veteran City, USA. So shout out to everyone who is serving, currently serving, and past serving. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't do what we do today. So you know that. All right, now let's get on to the next question here.
Interviews you've done, which one has been the most awkward?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Which one has been
So yes, I've done a lot of interviews, and yes, there have been many awkward ones. The most awkward one that I can think of, actually, there's two. Okay. So one time in the beginning of my career, I did a video interview, and the man only had his eyes up in it. So it was like this. All I saw was his eyes.
You just saw eyes?
And at the top of his head. So that was very uncomfortable.
And he never got out of he just kept looking.
So video-wise, that was definitely, I literally was just this.
How was his eyes?
Very strange.
They weren't pretty eyes?
No.
Well, do you remember the color of the eyes?
Brown.
Do you still see those eyes?
I have my nightmares when I...
Yeah, you made an impression, though.
And then the most awkward radio interview I ever did was, and it was mid-sized station. Again, This was the beginning of my career. It wasn't like an iHeart or a big one or anything like that. But it was, she kept calling me Jennifer Lynn, and then she kept saying all of the song names wrong. So she would be like, so Jennifer, I have a song that was very popular then called Crazy Idea. And she kept saying, Jennifer, I love Crazy Love. Tell me about that. I'm like, well, Crazy Idea was a song that I wrote, and I kept trying to correct her, and she just would not pick up on the cue. So she just kept doing it over and over again. Every song title was wrong, and my name was wrong the entire interview.
That I think that's the scariest thing. So you get to tell your story, and us as interviewers, we have to do our homework and make sure that we are pronouncing things correctly. And I'll give you guys a little behind the scenes on here in the Heart of the Gulch. If I cannot pronounce the name of something, I try to find everything I can to go around it so I don't fumble. I know that's a weird thing, and I don't know if you guys catch on it, but that's something that I'm always scared of. But talking about these interviews, I mean, what are some interviews that really have helped you shine? Because I've heard there have been some interviews that actually made you a little emotional.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Interviews that have helped me shine are definitely the high pressure ones, I think, because they're ones that give me confidence going forward. Ones on major network TV or live performances on live TV. Stuff like that is the stuff that really you kind of sink or swim and you show what you're made of. And then I think they make every other interview just kind of a breeze.
But what's it like when you step on stage? It's live, no going back, no turning back. You cannot turn around. What's that like?
It's terrifying. And I think the most terrifying thing is doing the national anthem on live TV.
100%. Everyone says that.
Because one, it's a very hard song to sing and you don't want to falter. And you want, especially I'm a very patriotic person. I do a ton of work with the troops, with military veterans. I never want to disgrace myself or my country
100%.
by singing that song. But the scariest one, there were two. I did NASCAR live it was 5 million people on Fox. And that was terrifying because it was just such a high pressure.
You think of that when you go in it? So when you're there, NASCAR, 5 million people are watching. You're standing center stage. Listen, what are you thinking in that moment?
I think of that. Do not mess this up.
Really?
Do not mess this up. And I'm in my head, can you see it by the dawn's early? Was it okay? Okay, I know it. And then the other scariest one was doing the national anthem for at Madison Square Garden.
I can only imagine.
I did it twice. The first one wasn't as terrifying as the second one. First one was March Madness basketball. Second was PBR, professional bull riding.
Everyone loves PBR here.
It was freezing because what a lot of people don't know is that there's ice under the dirt to keep it from clumping, or I'm not sure the exact science behind it, but I wore a dress. I'm like, I'm going to look nice. I was freezing. It's literally like you're in the middle of an ice skating rink. It's that cold. And I had no jacket to wear, fashionable jacket, I should say, to be on national TV. And then they are loading the bulls right behind you. So you're hearing all of this noise and grunting and you're trying to focus and you're terrified and you're shaking because you're freezing. And I'll never forget, 2 cowboys came like this with my arms, walked me to the center of the arena, and then spotlight, dead quiet except for the bulls being loaded behind me. And it was just so scary.
And that's one thing. Hopefully that you guys that are watching this, next time you see a anthem singer on any network, the Super Bowl's coming up, and you got to realize how different that is. It's something that normal people, myself included, will never experience. So
it's be grateful for that.
Yeah, be grateful for that, but also it's a moment to shine.
It is.
And it's a spotlight like no other.
It is. And I'm always grateful when I'm done doing it. But every time a request comes in for the anthem, I'm like, oh, no, not again. Not the stress again. Because, again, you're excited to do it, but it's just, and the hearing conditions are always hard because you're usually in big arenas. And you're getting a delay. And so it's just tricky.
All right. I got one more question here, and then I'll leave you with my last 2 questions. Here we go.
Are you currently inspired by? Whose
fashion are you currently inspired by?
Ooh, whose fashion? I'm an artist has not excited me as much in recent years as Lainey Wilson has.
Really?
And so I'm not a bell-bottom girl, but she inspires me because I love that she's uniquely herself. And I think that's something that a lot of artists lose because they're trying so hard to fit in that they lose track of who they actually are and what type of artist they want to be, because they're chasing whatever the big thing is in that moment, which never leads them to be the next big thing because there's already that out there. And the minute I saw her, and I know she's been grinding for a long time, but the minute I saw her, and the first time was like everyone all of a sudden knew who she was. And I was like, wow. And I had watched her performance like 10 times in a row because I was like, this girl is really like, she's out there. She's rocking it. Like, she's not trying to be anybody else. She has this really exciting live show. And it was very rock and roll oriented, which is exciting for me. And I haven't seen a girl like that in a long time in country music, in my opinion. And I was just really inspired by her doing her thing and not caring what anybody thinks and just being herself.
I love that. Now, going to my last two questions, these guys know I ask it all the time, but it's because I love to hear this question. So talking about the haters, talking about the doubters, the people that didn't believe in your vision, right? Didn't think that you can travel all across the globe and sing Madison Square Garden and all these other locations you've done. How do you not let that affect you outside of, don't let people, get into your mind? And, what can you tell others to not let those doubters affect them?
That's the fuel to my fire. If people aren't talking about you, you're not doing something right. And that's genuinely how I feel with anything. You have a food, the best food in the world, pizza. Half people hate pizza, half people love pizza. Is there anything wrong with pizza? No, it's just an opinion. And I think that's how I always viewed the music business. And obviously it hurts. You never want to hear bad things about yourself. But again, it's just an opinion. Just because I don't like the Grateful Dead, look how popular they are. Does my opinion really matter? No, it's just an opinion. And I think every young artist needs to remember that an opinion is an opinion. And for all the people that don't like what you're doing, there are going to be a lot of people that do like what you're doing.
I love that. Now, it's 2025. That's crazy for me to say that, but we got a long year ahead of us. So I'm curious to know, what are you looking most forward to in 2025, and what can the fans expect to see in 2025?
We are already assembling a lot of great tour dates, so I'm very excited about that. I'm going to Africa soon. We have our whole European tour set up. We're already assembling USA dates as well as Christmas tour dates already, which sounds crazy because it's January. But I'm looking forward to getting back out there, new places, new opportunities. And I'm also excited about the unknown because that's been a very exciting aspect of my career so far. It's taken me places I never in a million years would have thought that I ever would have gone. So that's something exciting for me. Like, what is 2025 going to bring that I am not anticipating or expecting? And music-wise, we have the record coming out, so obviously we'll ride that wave for a while. But I've already been writing a ton of stuff this year because I'm very inspired about all the great things of 2024, and I'm inspired for better health moving forward and having the energy to do everything that I love to do.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we definitely want better health and everything around that. So now, the way that we kick off your Walk the Line, it's like a day in life, but instead we're going to be doing a performance here. So I'm super excited at what song you pick. But the way we tee it off is you look straight into that camera right there. You say your name and you say, "This is how I walk the line," just like the Johnny Cash song, "Walk the Line."
All right.
All right. So after the applause, straight into that camera right there. And
I'm Jessica Lynn, and this is how I walk the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Take a breath, feel the sun shining in my eyes. Soak it in, it's a good day to be alive. Now I know. Turn it up, says the voice on the radio. Coming up is a song that will lift your soul. You all will know. Yeah, the world is heavy, weighing on my shoulders alone. Here I am, I'm ready, searching for a voice of my own. I never said it'd be easy. I knew it right from the start. Rewriting the dream, this time it's for me. Seeing all the signs now, finally. I never said it'd be easy, but it don't have to be hard. I'm taking a road right into the unknown. I never said it'd be easy. Suddenly I could see right inside of myself all the years that I lost being somebody else. Now I know. So here's to all the dreamers and the non-believers. Oh, I never said it'd be easy. I knew it right from the start. Rewriting the dream, this time it's for me. Seeing all the signs now, finally. I never said it'd be easy, but it don't have to be hard. I'm taking a road right into the unknown. I never said it'd be easy. Signs now, finally. I never said it'd be easy, but it don't have to be hard. I'm taking a road right into the unknown. I never said it'd be easy. I'm taking a road right into the